The lights inside the arena were shining brighter than ever, as boxing fans from all around the world waited for one of the most anticipated lightweight battles in recent history. On one side stood Vasyl Lomachenko, the Ukrainian master known for his unbelievable footwork, ring IQ, and legendary boxing skills. On the other side stood Australia's warrior, George Kambosos Jr., fighting in front of his home crowd with dreams of shocking the world once again. The atmosphere felt electric. Fans waved flags, screamed chants, and held up their phones waiting to capture history. Even before the fighters touched gloves, you could feel the tension in the air. Everyone knew this wasn't just another fight. This was legacy on the line. As George Kambosos Jr. made his ring walk, the entire arena erupted with cheers. Australian fans believed their hometown hero was ready to rise again after previous ups and downs in his career. Kambosos looked focused and determined, shadowboxing as he approached the ring while the crowd shouted his name louder and louder. But when Lomachenko appeared, the mood changed instantly. The Ukrainian star walked calmly toward the ring with complete focus in his eyes. No smile, no wasted movement, just pure concentration. Commentators immediately pointed out how relaxed he looked under pressure. For Lomachenko, this wasn't just another title fight. It was an opportunity to remind the entire boxing world that greatness never disappears. The opening bell finally rang, and both fighters slowly moved toward the center of the ring. Started aggressively, bouncing on his feet and trying to establish his jab early. He wanted to make Lomachenko uncomfortable from the beginning and use his energy to control the pace. But almost instantly, Lomachenko's movement began creating problems. The Ukrainian star stepped around punches with unbelievable ease, creating angles that confused Kambosos every time the Australian fighter tried to land something meaningful. Lomachenko slipped away and answered back with sharp counters. The crowd reacted loudly every time punches landed, but it quickly became obvious that Lomachenko's timing was on another level. Round 2 saw Lomachenko becoming more active. He started targeting the body with clean left hands while constantly moving around the ring. Kambosos attempted to pressure him against the ropes, but Lomachenko escaped beautifully and fired combinations that snapped Kambosos' head back. Commentators praised Lomachenko's footwork, calling it one of the best examples of ring control in modern boxing. Fans online started posting reactions immediately, with many saying the Ukrainian legend looked sharper than ever before. Kambosos continued trying to stay aggressive, but every exchange seemed to favor Lomachenko. Kambosos knew he needed to make the fight ugly and physical to slow Lomachenko down. He pushed forward with combinations and attempted to force exchanges in the middle of the ring. For brief moments, the Australian fighter had success landing hooks and right hands that excited the crowd. But Lomachenko always answered back with even cleaner punches. His combinations looked effortless. Jab, step to the side, left hand to the body, right hook upstairs. Every movement had purpose. Every punch was perfectly timed. Fans watching around the world couldn't stop talking about the skill difference they were witnessing. As the fight moved into the middle rounds, Lomachenko completely settled into his rhythm. This was the stage where his experience and ring IQ truly began taking over. Kambosos started showing signs of frustration because he simply couldn't predict where Lomachenko would attack next. The Ukrainian star moved like a machine, constantly changing angles and landing combinations before disappearing out of range. One moment he attacked the body, the next he fired quick punches upstairs. Kambosos continued fighting with heart, refusing to back down despite absorbing clean shots. But every round seemed to increase Lomachenko's confidence even more. Round after round, the damage on Kambosos became clearer. Swelling began appearing around his face, and his movements slowed slightly from the constant pressure. Lomachenko recognized the weakness immediately and started attacking the body more aggressively. The sound of punches landing echoed throughout the arena. Fans winced every time Lomachenko connected with another brutal body shot. Analysts at ringside explained how body punches slowly drain a fighter's energy, and that's exactly what was happening. Kambosos still threw punches back, still tried to fight through the pain. But Lomachenko looked completely in control of every moment. The crowd remained loud throughout the fight, desperately trying to motivate Kambosos. Every time the Australian fighter landed a decent shot, The arena exploded with hope, but Lomachenko stayed calm and composed no matter what happened. That's what separates great fighters from everyone else. Under pressure, Lomachenko looked relaxed, almost like he was solving a puzzle round by round. His ring IQ was incredible. He baited Kambosos into mistakes, stepped around punches, and countered with deadly precision. Social media exploded with reactions, calling it a boxing lesson. Fans and experts alike praised Lomachenko's performance as one of the best displays of technical skills seen in years. By round 8, the fight had become extremely difficult for Kambosos. The Australian warrior's face showed punishment, and his punches lacked the same speed as earlier rounds. Still, he refused to quit. He continued moving forward, trying to create opportunities and feed off the crowd's energy. The fans respected his toughness and heart, cheering loudly every time he pushed the action. But Lomachenko's accuracy remained terrifying. Every clean combination from the Ukrainian superstar seemed to freeze Kambosos momentarily. The difference in timing, movement, and precision became impossible to ignore. Round 9 and round 10 felt like the beginning of the end. Lomachenko sensed that Kambosos was fading and increased the pressure dramatically. He trapped the Australian fighter near the ropes multiple times, unloading vicious combinations to the head and body. The crowd stood up every time Lomachenko attacked because the finish looked close. Kambosos tried firing back with desperation, but Lomachenko's defense remained too sharp. The Ukrainian legend slipped punches effortlessly before landing brutal counters that drew huge reactions from the commentators. One announcer even shouted that Lomachenko was putting on a masterpiece performance. Then came round 11, the round that changed everything. Lomachenko came out aggressive from the opening seconds. Knowing his opponent was hurt and exhausted, he attacked the body with savage punches that visibly damaged Kambosos. The Australian fighter backed toward the ropes, trying to survive while throwing occasional counters. But Lomachenko's pressure became overwhelming. Combination after combination crashed into Kambosos as the crowd screamed in shock. Finally, after another devastating attack, the referee stepped in and waved off the fight. The arena exploded with emotion as Lomachenko raised his hands in victory after scoring a brutal TKO stoppage. Commentators immediately called it one of the most dominant performances of the year. Fans online flooded social media with clips and reactions praising Lomachenko's incredible skill and ring IQ. Many people compared the performance to some of the greatest lightweight champions in boxing history. Analysts debated who could possibly challenge Lomachenko if he continued fighting at this level. The Ukrainian superstar had just traveled into enemy territory and completely dismantled a former world champion in front of his own fans. It was more than a victory, it was a statement to the entire boxing world. After the fight, Lomachenko thanked the fans and spoke respectfully about Kambosos' toughness and determination. The Australian fighter received applause for never giving up and continuing to battle until the very end. But this night belonged entirely to Lomachenko. His movement, timing, combinations, and boxing intelligence were simply too much. Fans inside the arena knew they had witnessed something special, a legendary fighter turning back. The clock with a vintage performance, the lightweight division instantly became more exciting after this fight. Questions about future matchups began spreading everywhere. Could Lomachenko become champion again? Could any current lightweight handle his style? Boxing fans around the world started debating dream fights and possible future opponents. But one thing became clear after this performance: Vasyl Lomachenko was far from finished. In fact, he looked more dangerous than ever. For years, boxing fans have respected Lomachenko for his incredible technical ability. But tonight, he reminded everyone why many people consider him one of the greatest pure boxers of his generation. His footwork looked flawless. His timing looked perfect. His combinations landed with surgical precision. Against a tough and determined fighter like George Kambosos Jr., Lomachenko delivered a performance that will be remembered for a very long time. This wasn't just another fight highlight. This was a masterclass, a statement, a warning to the entire lightweight division. Vasyl Lomachenko walked into Australia, silenced the crowd, and proved once again that true greatness never fades away.